Hello, Ida. How are you, dear? You know that I'm not a doctor, so don't call me doctor. But thank you for the honorary diploma. My education in the university is different, and my research on what I share is basically intense research on my own for the many years of my life. But I'm not a doctor of medicine. Juan, you are second message, but perhaps first. I don't know. Ida's message came in first, but good to see you here. Pardon from Zimbabwe. Hello, good to see you. Ananya, dear, how are you, sweetheart? Hi, Zvine. Hope all of you guys are wonderfully happy and healthy there. Say hello to all my Witty Feet family and lovely friends and wish them all well. I'm so delighted that you're here. Hello, Prince. Good morning to you. How are you? Good, thank you. TR. Archna. Good to see you all here. Jeff, you like the tie? You like the tie? Thank you. Yeah, me too. Makes two of us. I miss you too, Ananya dear. Oh, I would love to come to India one day, but you know how it is. When you get older, everything is set in its own way. I mean, you don't know, you're so young, but I am an older age of my life, and so I have everything settled, take care of this, that, so forth. But I wish that we can all get together somewhere in the world, some tropical place, and we all have some get together and fun. So, Juan, good to see you as well. Kozia, thank you, dear. Now remember, guys, please let me know which part of the world you're tuning in, so I have an idea of the geographics that we're talking about and how we are gathering more and more every week. Yeah, Ida, there is chai today, but I have now switched to totally fruit chai. It's tea made from fruits, and it's got lots of goodies in there, and no caffeine or no tain. For a while I was drinking cocoa with almond butter, and then of course I was wonderful, but I felt that maybe I would like to have no caffeine before. So, Mauricio, good to see you, dear, from Brazil. Yes, Prince, that would be good to have a buffet, all of us somewhere. But as soon as there would be some speaking engagement worldwide, and if I'm invited, which there is a possibility, and then of course we will all know and see in different places if we could all, at least some of us, at some times meet. Thank you, Ananya dear. You will be my promotional manager. So I would still be considered young. Thank you, dear. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you. Now, guys, as you know, we've had 63, and this is the 64th live talk that we have, and most of it, about 50 of them, has been done through the gracious arrangement and facilitation of the good people at Witty Feed, which is a progressive company, very successful, and lots of happy people, loving people working for that company, and bring it to the status that it has today, which is one of the very successful and on top of the chart among the viral content writings and so on, which I'm sure if you go on Witty Feed site, you will get to know more about it. Viral content is a big, successful way of contact with the world, and everybody is trying to get on the system to express themselves and help the world to become more aware of things that we need to be aware. And of course, you're all familiar with how the technologies moves, and WittyFeed is on top of it as well. And I'm very happy to have this chance for us that we can chat every week and share some views and perhaps alleviate some of the situations and pains that we may be going through. And all our discussions for the past 64 live talks has been on the issues of thoughts, consciousness, fears, desire, and ego, and how they relate and interrelate and work together and affect each other in the way we deal and negotiate our day-to-day lives. Now, we use all that knowledge and all that understanding of what I just said in dealing with the emotional problems and challenges that you may be going through due to your recent breakup or the relationship that is having certain rocky roads. So that is what we do here, and we've had over 40 or 45 lectures, and since then we're having Q&A sessions every week, and some of them, one of them on Saturday is on my Facebook page, Mind That Seeks Truth, which you can go on Facebook, and the link is up there already. And on Sundays at 11 o'clock, I have this pleasure to share with you through this facilitation of the WittyFeed, who have allowed us to make this connection throughout the world, and we help each other to feel better about the things that may be concerning you as far as it has to do with mind, thoughts, consciousness, fears, desire, and egos, and how to connect with the universal energy and how to understand the relationship between our mind and body, and better equipped to deal with our day-to-day challenges. Now, having said that, we are looking for questions in those regards, and I look forward to share some opinions with you. Yeah, I'm sure. It's morning here in Vancouver, West Coast, and in Europe it's about 6 or 7 o'clock in the afternoon. In India is 11:30, 12 o'clock, close to midnight, and I'm sure in Zimbabwe, as you say, it's 10 o'clock at night, something like that. Good, Ida, yes. So we're looking for a question, guys. Mina, lemongrass. I would like you to look into that lemongrass, because there was a very well-known surgeon that has come up with few foods that we shouldn't actually be using. And one of them was lemongrass. So you look into it and make sure that it is something that, it would be as good as they say it is for you, or is it actually harmful? So look into it. I'm not sure exactly the details of it, but his recommendation was that we should not have lemongrass. And I guess because we don't eat grass. I don't know. So Jonathan says, "Hi, sir, hope you're well." Okay, and then he says, "Thank you, and hope you're good too." He says, "So my girlfriend and I broke up, and now we are trying to work things out. Can relationships after a breakup work out? Why not? Why wouldn't it? It depends on if you guys can start understanding what the roots of breakup is. And most often, the reason that the relationships don't work is because mostly is based on physical attractions. And everything physical has a duration. It doesn't matter what it is, everything physical in this world has a duration. But if you notice, most non-physical things, whether it's energy or spiritual or certain connection or kindness or love, these things don't usually fall apart or don't usually fade away. They leave a good mark in one's consciousness. So the whole idea must be focused on bonding on the consciousness level, not on physical level. Because as you know, your consciousness is put together in the same way but differently than any other person, depending on what kind of a family you were raised in, what kind of a country you were raised in, what kind of traditions you followed, what kind of customs you had, what nationality and religion you had, what things you read, what teachers you taught you, what schools you went to, what people you met, what experiences you were exposed to, what movies you watched, and all these things, and dogmas and rules and regulations, and many of them actually without you being in this world yet, transferred from thousands of years ago through the habits and conditionings that was actually transferred to the next generation, so on. It all came to you and formed the consciousness that you have. And each person, in the same way but different way, the content of their consciousness, based on what I just explained, is. So therefore, when you guys get together and attracted only on physical level, and you like each other, and that's the sexual part, the physical part, that's what we are programmed to look for mates and so on. However, that is a joy of getting together. But when you try to commit yourself and you don't try to bond on the consciousness level, that joy of physical interaction, physical attraction will turn into pleasure, because you now harnessed it. You got together, you are in a relationship. And that joy that has turned into pleasure, that is a beginning of, if there is no bonding on consciousness level, it is a beginning of boredom. Because any contact and interaction with a physical entity or physical thing eventually becomes known. And when it's totally known, there is no unknown in it. There's no surprise. There's no development in it. Then there's no joy. It's a pleasure, and the pleasure is beginning to be boredom. So use the time that you're interacting physically and you're infatuated physically in order to understand and bond on consciousness level, because that is what is going to keep your relationships together and help it develop and become to a different level, that even when the physical infatuations have run their course, but it is so fresh, everything, because on the level of changes in your consciousness, you guys constantly also balance it out and get to know each other and new things about each other, and it's always become exciting and something that the bond will never be easily broken as physical bonds can. So if you take this opportunity and try to reconcile, but try to understand the reasons that you guys broke up. Not just, I said this, you said that, I didn't like it, you should do this, and you should obey me, or you should follow me, you shouldn't do this. Not that sort of stuff. Understand that you guys have two different consciousnesses. And your order, the way you like things to be done, is different than the order of the other partner. Because when you were single, you had your own way of doing things in life, and you had your own order and norm of living, your own mechanical processes, the way that you had created psychological security for yourself. And now that you got together in a relationship, your order, your way of doing things is interfering with the order of the other person and the other person's way of doing things. And the other person's doing things is interfering with your order. Therefore, you feel uncomfortable at the beginning. Once that interaction, physical interaction, is now normal for you and the infatuation time is over, then your orders begin to annoy each other. And after a while, you begin to compromise and you create a new order, a complementary, combined, harmonized order. And when you guys break up, this order that is now new, but yet it's become your order, both of your orders, again breaks down, and you go back to the way it was at the single time. And then that's going to be a little bit hard for you for a while. So if you understand all these things, that you got to deal with each other's orders, understand you got to deal with each other's consciousness, what's the content of it is, and use this time of reconciliation to bond on that level, understand each other's on the consciousness level, then you have a far better chance to make it work. Otherwise, you will always going to break up. because you tend to bond through physical interaction. And the physical interaction cannot bond so well, because everybody thinks, oh, I've had this, I'm used to it now, it's not that exciting anymore, so maybe there's something wrong with him or something wrong with her, so maybe I should go now find somebody else because I want that excitement again. Well, that excitement in every case eventually becomes non-excitement as much, not as much as it used to be. So you must understand, to keep your life exciting, you must bond on the consciousness level. You must understand what love is, what unselfishness is, what understanding each other's orders are, how to work with each other's order and create a new order, a common order, and on that basis, lift your life and advance and develop further and further and make the bond stronger rather than just letting it become old. Hope that is something for you to think about. Shamim, salam, doctor. Guys, remember, I appreciate the complimentary honorary degree of doctorate, but I'm not a doctor of medicine. Understand that clearly. So call me Mehran, or my last name. That would be great. So at least there would be no misunderstanding. If a bunch of you start calling me doctor, so whatever I say, others may think that it's a medical analysis or medical diagnosis, and that is not. So we're talking about consciousness, thoughts, the relationship between thoughts and consciousness, fears, desires, and ego, how our psyche works, and how mind and body is connected, and they affect each other, the relationship between our mind and body, the relationship between our energy and energy of the universe, and understand meditation, and so on and so forth. And that is what we intend to accomplish here. Shamim says, what is your recommendation on having a healthy long-distance relationship? A long-distance relationship, dear, can usually or hardly be healthy, because we as a human being are put together, we're an entity made from mind and body. And body has needs and mind has needs. So if you have a long-distance relationship, you may actually be on your good manners, each one of you, and talk on Skype or on Facebook and be lovey-dovey and, you know, in the distance, none of the stuff that you have to deal during the day you will get to see from each other. So you really wouldn't know each other's shortcoming or whatnot. So it'll always be perfectly fine and feeding your mind and your emotions with all the wonderful words and looking nice and a snapshot of your whole existence. However, that may be satisfy your emotional needs, mind, so to speak, but it is not going to satisfy your physical needs. You will eventually feel the need to hold someone's hand, to walk along, have coffee or tea, interact and go to stores and spend some time, do some sports, do some interactions and some maybe hugging and physical touch. These are the needs of a human being that in a healthy relationship, both mind, the emotional part, and the physical part is necessary. So eventually, while both of you or one of you thinks that everything is going well, because we go to work, we come back, we talk on Skype or Facebook and say, hi, how are you, how was your day and all that, and everything's fine. But then one of you starts in the background missing the physical connections and can't wait, and somebody along the line happens to be around, you know, some girl or some guy, depending which one of you is interested in what, and then you begin interacting, and that physical need that is fulfilling would actually make you forget about the emotional satisfaction that you're receiving from each other, and you give priority to this physical thing because that has its own uses and amazing effects on you. And then you will eventually be gravitating toward that person who is nearby physically, and he breaks down. So that's one part of the scenario. Sometimes it works. I'm not saying it definitely doesn't work, but these are the challenges that you're facing with. So hard to say that a long distance relationship can be really healthy. it can be hopeful, but if it's going to be more than a few months, hard to say that it's going to last. So be aware of that. Princess, haha, Mehrans, you are so good at this. You've been mistaken to be a doctor. Okay, fine, thank you. Jonathan says, thank you, sir. I appreciate your point of view. My pleasure, Jonathan. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Shamim, okay, my bad. Okay, good. Aida. Mehranjun, okay, I'll take that one. That's cool. All right. Dogan, thank you for sharing my video. I appreciate that. Popa, aloha. Love Guru. Yeah. I had a friend, I think it was a couple of years ago, and when we were talking about these sort of things, she said, you're a love doctor. So now you call me Love Guru. That's good. But I think there was a movie made by Mike Myers, the Austin Power guy, Love Guru. It didn't do too well on the movies, theaters, I guess, but yeah, not that kind of Love Guru, a new advanced version of it. Yeah, yeah, Mehranjun is always good. So, don't tell me we ran out of questions already this early into our session. Remember, guys, if you want to socialize, we can set a time somewhere, someplace in the world, and gather, have tea and coffee. Here, you want to have your tea and your questions handy. So make sure you write your questions for the next time beforehand, and then just there was many of the sessions that we had. The questions were not ending. Boom, 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 one after each other. I said, hey, give me a chance to have a little bit of tea. Ida says, I saw you posted a video about meditation, how to stay in the meditative state. I see. Well, meditation has been something that has been a very heavy influencer in the martial arts that I trained for many years, and I taught for about over 35 years on weekends, just another service for the community, and trained hundreds of people with martial art techniques using powers of mind and body coordinated, and the meditation and understanding the relationship between mind and body and relationship between our powers, our mind, and nature's energy has been a big part of that study. So meditation is very dear to my heart, and I know its wonderful effects and the powers that can generate in us motivations and well-being, general well-being, and help us to achieve our goals. So if I put something up there because I want people to know how it affects our lives in a very positive way. And maybe one day when we have enough people interested, we can do a meditation that I would guide it, and right here you can all do it where you are sitting and enjoy the benefit of it. And that would be interesting. So, if you remember, we've had lectures for many weeks, but now that the lectures are done and we have over 450 videos on YouTube channel, you can always go to the YouTube channel and use the playlists, and you will have all kinds of short and long videos on different subjects to do with mind, thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, and ego, and relationship breakups, and so on and so forth, to equip yourself how to deal with the challenges that comes to you on a daily basis in your daily lives. And please do go to my YouTube channel and see which video you like and make sure you like the video and share the video, and that would help people around the world to know that there is supports available, and meaningful support, not just how to do this and do that and trick yourself to get the X back and all that so forth, but actually understand how your consciousness is put together, why you feel the way you do, and how to move on and make a better life for yourself. And please do go to my site and visit and take a look at the table of the contents of the books that I've written. As you know, there are a few books that are on the site. One is Transient Thoughts and Me. This book talks about the thoughts that comes to your mind and you have had no interest in them, and you do not invite those thoughts, and you wonder, what are these thoughts doing in my head? What do they mean? Do they represent me? Are they talking about my interest, my inclination? Or why is it there? What do I do with them? Where do they come from? So that's the sort of thing that you would find in that book. And then Me, My Psyche, and I, that is over 360 pages of all kinds of information about your psyche, fears, desire, ego, thoughts, consciousness, and their connection with each other, and understand about meditation, all elaborate way of explaining how to meditate and what are the reasons and good things and how it helps your life. And then, of course, all different kinds of topics. But you can go onto my site, take a look at the table of the contents of each book, and see and have a sample chapter read that you can read right on the site. And of course, on the site you have access to my services for the Skype consultation one-on-one that I do all around the world, every day, at least many times a week. So you can use those systems and supports to get yourself out of the jam that you are and feel better and stronger and know a little bit more about yourself. So please do share the videos and go to my Facebook page and like the page and invite your friends, and so that will let people know the kind of work I do, and also helps them to know that there is support and life hasn't ended because your relationship is ended. It's actually beginning of a new order for you, a beginning of new hopeful days and a better relationship because you're now more experienced. So Popa says, well, all gotta meet in British Columbia for a cup of tea. Figure we need to rent a mall to do so. Well, that would be lovely. That would be lovely. Ida says, which book of yours talk about consciousness? I would like to buy. Okay, the Me, My Psyche, and I, if you go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, and you will see when you click on the books come, and then Me, My Psyche, and I is the one that has thoughts, consciousness, fears, desires, ego, and meditation, and so many other parts that, and there's paper version, and then there's ebook version. The ebook is much cheaper and faster. You can get it right away, download it. And so when you click on it, the system will tell you how to get it, but when the download comes, you got to click on the download and it will easily be downloaded. Okay, now questions, guys. So far I have done most of the talking and only a few questions we had, but I'm sure you guys have a lot more questions. You're not coming here just to have tea with me. So if you haven't done so, any of you that has not been, have not had the chance to go on my Facebook page, Mind That Seeks Truth. The link is up there on top of this, this post for speaking. The link is up there. Please go on my Facebook page, Mind That Seeks Truth, author and books. They're both mine, but go to the author one and like it, so we'll be in contact. So if there's any events or any posts that I want to put in there, that when we have live talks on amazing things in the world Facebook page, or when I have live talks on Mind That Seeks Truth Facebook page, it'll all be posted there. So do that if you haven't. Just go on the Facebook page and like it, so we can be in touch all the time. Now, questions, guys. Unless you guys have become completely tired of me, there's no sense having this anymore if I don't have questions here. There it is. Mina says, I'm divorced. I'm not sure if I should say I'm sorry or I'm happy for it, depending what kind of a relationship it ended up being at the end. We tried to get back, but things were not the same. So in my opinion, nope. You cannot tie again something that you broke. Yeah, well, it is often like that. But again, it's not that you cannot mend something when it's broken. It's because you're trying to tie it again, mend it again, on the same premise that it ended up being broken. Meaning on physical attraction, on doing some other exciting things, everything physical, maybe a little bit more flower, maybe a little bit more attention, maybe a little bit less selfishness, maybe a little bit more caring or more time together. But these are all cosmetically arranged to tolerate each other or tolerate this situation, tolerate the problems, but doesn't address the problems. You see, it's like, when you guys break up or wait a little bit and you feel cool-headed and you think you can now get back together and you try, but you try on the same premises with the same garbage in it. You don't try to get rid of the garbage, recognize, identify the garbage and sort them out, which is getting to know each other on a consciousness level. You still want to get back together on the same premise, in the same ways that you try to keep it together, which didn't work. It's like having a bucket of water and mud, and it's muddy. So when you're in a relationship, it's like you're staring the mud. So there's lots of mud there, and it becomes uncomfortable, and you leave each other. So you let the bucket be, and you don't touch it. After a while, yes, you haven't touched it. It looks like the mud goes at the bottom, and the water looks a bit clear. And you think, okay, it's now separate. But there's still the mud there. It may not be looking the same way, all mixed up as before, but the mud is still there. It hasn't been taken out. So just being separated for a while and having a cool head and ready to start again is just like you had a marathon and you waited along, you had nourishments, and you're regenerated and your energy is back and you're ready to do it again. But you're going to do the same and feel the same way because it's the same, how it's going to take out of you in the same way, and you're going to feel at the end of it in the same manner. So the best thing would be get nutrients, and now this time get on a car or a bicycle and go through the marathon so you won't be that tired. So the bucket with the mud and the water in it, it's best to put it through a sift and get the mud out and the fresh water to be there, separated completely, and then use the water, filter it, make tea with it, and so on and so forth. Same thing with your relationship. When you take time off, well, use that time off to think what things you should address when you try to get back together. And when you get back together, start talking about how things are different in your consciousness level. What about your desires, and how does your ego plays into this whole equation? What are the fears that each one of you are facing? What is it that you're concerned that you don't feel certain in this relationship? What is it that doesn't let you have that elusive psychological security, which we never reach it, but at least we can feel like we are in a certain order, that it's a combined and pleasant order that can be shared? And what kind of a mechanical process you guys each been following that would bring about that elusive psychological security? All these are the things that you need to be talking after that initial time that passed and you guys kind of have a cool head now. Otherwise, you get back together, again, the same mud is in the bucket, you stare at it a little bit, it comes up and it looks like garbage, and you again become dissatisfied and disillusioned and disappointed. So you have to get back and understanding each other's consciousness and try to address things on consciousness level, and so you can bond on conscious level, which It will lengthen and strengthen your relationship, and understands how you can develop it and advance through life together as a team, and not just based on physical things or material things they can do or buy for each other, and give a little bit of a boost of joy and happiness and have an excuse to be happy. You don't want to have an excuse to be happy. Happiness should be based on the fact that I understand it's the field of the known, not just my own consciousness, but also my partner's consciousness. So we are all in a very safe and certain, psychologically secured environment, because it has now created a field of the known as much as possible between both of us, not just mine. And when you create that field of the known based on understanding, bonding, consciousness level, then you have created that bit of a psychological security, bring that certainty, and the bond would not be temporary based on some physical flashes and here and there. Hope that would be helpful. Mina? That's right, Popa. All right. So now it's time for me, I guess, to ask my timekeeper, tell me what time it is, because I don't see that many questions today. Either every one of you has become proficient, and or you just simply know everything I want to say. But I warn you, if you want to think that you know everything, then I have to tell you this joke about Nasir ad-Din and his camel driver. As you know, just a little joke and we'll continue. As you know, Nasir ad-Din was a Turkish philosopher thousands of years ago, and he was a very wise man at the time, and he would travel around the country and countryside and cities and villages and areas and give a sermon, give a lecture about life and wisdom of life and so on and so forth. And his camel driver was accompanying him through all these traveling. And after about 8 or 9 or 10 different cities that they went and he gave a speech, the camel driver said one night, outside of a city when they had camped and ready to go to the city the next morning, he said to Nasir ad-Din, says, you know, Nasir ad-Din, what you do is not so big deal. I know that I can give the same speech as you do, just as good as you do. I can do the same job. Well, of course, he could, because he'd been hearing the same speech from Nasir ad-Din for the past 10 nights, so he now knows it by heart. So Nasir ad-Din thought it over, says, well, okay, no problem. You may be right. Well, next city, tomorrow, they don't know me, and so we switch places, and you go on the camel and you become Nasir ad-Din, and I become the camel driver, and I will just pull the camel. They said, okay, sure enough, no big deal. I can do the same speech. So next day they wake up and out of the camp and walk out, and then Nasir ad-Din now is the camel driver, and the camel driver is now pretending to be Nasir ad-Din sitting on the camel. So they enter the city and people welcome them and so on, and they, of course, you know, show him the podium in the middle of the town. People gathered, and Nasir ad-Din, which is now the camel driver now, goes on in front of the people and starts the lecture. And he gives as good a lecture as Nasir ad-Din himself, because he's been hearing it for the past many nights, until he came to question-answer period. And somebody asked a question, and of course he didn't know the knowledge, the wisdom. He just knew how to say things like a parrot did, but he didn't know how to analyze it. So the question, he couldn't figure the, heads or tails of it. So he said, this question is so basic and so simple that even my camel driver can answer it. Now show the Nasir ad-Din to come and answer them. So remember, if you think that you got everything wrapped up and you know everything now, wait, there's a question may come to you, or someone will ask you, and then you will be looking for your camel driver, and I wouldn't be around to help you. So now let's see, Nitin says, I'm in a long distance relationship, had a strong emotional bond with my partner, and been missing the physical need. Then I fulfilled that physical need from somebody else in my life. Now I don't feel the same bond with my long distance partner, but cannot feel like losing her. What do I do? I'm so much stuck right now. Well, that's exactly what we were talking about just about 15-20 minutes ago. You need to have a balance between the entity that we are, which is mind, and the body. You can't simply by writing letters or doing Skype things and satisfy each other emotionally, you feel that you have a complete relationship. Eventually you'll be needing that physical interaction, and you will be actually giving into some physical relationship with someone that doesn't actually have that much in common with you, but because you're infatuated and you have the need of that intimacy, you actually justify it and think that he or she is good enough. And of course, then after that physical intimacy is like somebody's promising you that I will cook you good food, or promising you I will take you on a wonderful journey, and the other person nearby actually does cook the food, and that actually does spend time with you, take you around, or go on a vacation and so on. So that's the difference. And then you feel like, well, I actually physically am experiencing it. And unfortunately, the way we are in this world, we respond to physical things. When we see something, when we touch something, it is more real to us and more satisfactory than when you just limit the bonding or connection to mental level or spiritual level or emotional level. So that's the dilemma of the long distance relationship. And there is nothing I can tell you about it, is that you cannot commit yourself into a long distance relationship but yet get your goodies on the side and still expect to continue with the life. It just becomes a little bit conflicting inside you, and you feel dishonest. And of course, when you disclose that, it will not be received well. And if you don't disclose it, you won't feel that you've been meeting up with the standards that you've set and you expect from the other side to treat you in the same way. So you got to let one go, and got to make a decision. Okay, now yes, I know, Papa. What else can I say? Raju, good to see you here, dear. So, perhaps, Nitin, one thing for you is to bite the bullet and tell your long distance friend that it's best if you guys don't be in a relationship. This is not my recommendation. This is just my opinion. I don't want you to do something that later on you say, he said so. No. You make your own decisions. But the situations that you put yourself into, and you haven't been able to stay true to this long distance relationship, which is not easy, then perhaps if you want, think about and consider to sever the relationship with the long distance partner until you guys are back in the same city. So in that way, consciously, you're free in your mind, and she's free in her mind to find other friends and to be in other relationships. And if you guys get back to the city and you're within each other's close proximity again and decide to pursue it, then that would be a clean pursuit, because then you wouldn't be kind of infringing each other's trust by, enjoying some pleasures, physical pleasures on the side. Okay. Raju, Why do we dream? He asks. Well, because we close our eyes, and when we close our eyes, we dream. What else do you want me to say? We've discussed this before in detail. Don't get me going on dreams again. Go find the other ones. If you go on my YouTube channel and put in, why we dream, or why I still think of her, or whatever, and stuff like that, and then that talk about dream. And as you know, you dream for many reasons. Of course, the material process of the mind is constantly working, and when you think about something in the background or directly too long, or during the day you're involved with it or think about something for too long, well, when you sleep, the material process is still continuing. The mechanical process of it is still going through processing, and then it's like you're driving a car and you shut off the engine, you shut it off, but still the fan is still working until it cools down, then it shuts off completely. So the same thing, the process is going during the day or during many days, and then eventually when you're sleeping, but the system is still processing, and that comes into be of thoughts and dreams that you may see you may dream and all that, so forth. And that could have something to do with it, which what you occupies your mind during the day, you may actually dream about it because the system is still working. That's the best I can say right now. Adam says, I split from my GF last year. She has moved on. I am struggling to move on. Everything I do, everywhere I go, reminds me of her. She checks in with me every few weeks to see how I'm doing. And now, where was it? She's checked everything to her. Where is it? Gee, I lost you. Oh, how I'm doing? Now I know this isn't good because every time I see her, it brings all the feelings back. I know I have to say to her, please stop visiting me, please stop contacting me, but I can't. I still love her, and I wish I didn't. I feel like I'm never going to move on, and it is really bringing me down. I compare everything to her, and I think that her shoes will never be filled. And when I see her, she tells me everything that she's been up to with him, and it hurts. I swear relationships are the worst things ever created. In one hand they are, and the best things ever. In the other hand, they are the most heart-wrenching, most painful thing imaginable. No, they're all good. It is you who makes it painful. It is us who make it painful. Because you think you have to follow your desire. You become enslaved. You become a slave to your desire and ego. When you have broken up, if you notice the reason that you have desire, how desire is born, we can start from that. When you see a car, your eyes contact with the car, you recognize it's a car, your sensories, maybe you go closer and you smell the new car, and you realize that something interesting about it, then you touch the car. As soon as you touch the car, you lift the front hood and you see the engine, you sit in it and imagine yourself driving it. As soon as you do this, the pictures, images of you driving it, how people will look at you, how people will feel about, how you would feel about yourself, somebody sitting beside you maybe, your girlfriend maybe, or how it feels to drive this car, the sound of the engine. You imagine all these pictures and images that come to your mind because you got physical contact with that car, then that is when the desire is born. The same thing goes along with anything else. A relationship. You see the girl, you like the girl, but it's okay. You don't mind it unless you get to know her. And you get to know her, so your eyes, your senses, the smell, and the interaction, and then touch, you hold hand, and so on. And then you imagine the promise of intimacy, and so on and so forth. And all that is when desire is born, and so on and so forth, and the rest of it. And when you break up, all those images, including the emotional files with each one of the images in your memory, comes with it when you think of her. When the emotional files come with it, which includes the discussions, the things you did, the touches, the kissing, the hugs, and so on, and again, the images that is created because of these experiences is not even just there, it also will be created again, newly, and then the desire is refreshed again. The desire is never gone because you keep bringing it up, and the pictures and the emotions, that images of you and her and the intimacy and so on is there, and based on those, the desire is born again or refreshed again, and therefore you can't get rid of her. So what you need to do, you need to focus on the fact. What is the fact? The fact is that you are trying to be in love with someone who doesn't want to be with you. She's out there fucking with somebody else, and you're here desiring her. Where is your respect for yourself? Where is your respect for yourself? That you stoop so low that you actually love someone, want to be someone's stooge or someone's dog, even though that someone is already with somebody else and doesn't care to think of you the same way you think of her. And she makes a pity visit to you, how you are. What do you mean? If she can go away, she doesn't deserve for you to desire her anymore. Guys, have some respect for yourselves. Desire someone who desires you. Want to be with someone who wants to be with you. If she doesn't want to be with you, well, respect that, but respect yourself as well. Go on. Don't pay attention to her anymore. If you were together for a while, you were good together, fine. That thing, she changed her mind or you change your mind, is over. Is dead. Don't keep bringing the memories, or don't desire someone who has chosen to be with someone else. Well, if she can be with someone else, why can't you? What are you? A nincompoop? Have no respect for yourself. How can you lead your life when you're just a follower to someone who actually doesn't look back and goes with somebody else? I don't understand. You have to get some kind of understanding in your head. Who are you? Are you a man with honor and respect? Do you love yourself? If you love yourself, why do you want to give yourself a rotten food from the grounds with lots of stuff in it that is not supposed to be in it? You, if you have any love for yourself, why you want someone who doesn't want you? That's not respectful. Go for something fresh. Go for something high quality. And that means someone who also is as excited to be with you as you are to be with her. Someone who wants to build a relationship with you as you want to build with her. And someone who doesn't, respect that. It's a free world. She doesn't want to be with you. The answer is, I don't want to be with you either, because I want to be with someone who wants to be with me. That's the first criteria. So breakup can be as easily as you command yourself that, I understand this is a breakup, we are not together anymore, therefore she doesn't want me, therefore I cannot want someone who doesn't want me. It's just not normal. What's the fun in that? Constantly, oh, please like me. Why? Why do you want to be on the weak side? There's so many girls who probably love to get to know you. A man with your integrity, with your honesty, with your loyalty, with your unselfishness, with your attention. Open yourself up, go meet people and appreciate them and understand this one is gone. and it's not deserving you, because what deserves you is someone who wants to be with you. Someone who doesn't want to be with you does not deserve to be with you. That should be your standard. I don't care how pretty or this or that she is. She's not for you. She's not with you. Therefore, you don't want to be with her. If this wheel doesn't turn for you, it doesn't matter if it turns at all. It doesn't matter how pretty she is. If it's not for you, if she's not desiring you, if she's not interested in a relationship with you, then you cannot be interested or want a relationship with her. That should be the first and foremost standard of any relationship. Man or woman, doesn't matter. Whatever your relationship style is. If someone doesn't want you, have respect for yourself. Don't want that person. Done. Now, when you get that into your head, you will understand what you should be doing. And cut relationship with her. What is this coming to you and visiting you? What are you visiting me for? You made your decision. I respect that. Now, you respect mine. Don't come around. And you respect yourself. Don't wish her to come around. Don't want her to come around. Cut the cord. There are other women around the world, wonderful and beautiful and caring, and they can offer you a lot more than she can offer you. You can attest to that. She's not offering you anything that is substantial. A token of hello, how are you is like a phone call. I don't need that. You want a girlfriend? Then you go get a real one, not an illusory one. Okay? Be good to yourself always, and be tough on your reasoning for wanting someone, and understand if she deserves you wanting her, which means does she want you? And if she doesn't, that's a deal breaker. Robin Rosalia Christina from Israel. Hello dear, how are you? Popa, I found long distance relationship, he says, awkward. Yeah, it's true. Okay, Oz Galvez. How can we deal with people who feel the need to impose their desire and not respect our choices? Today we seem to find too many opinionated people, and we would like to remain close but cannot fully embrace their closed-mindedness. What's the best way to deal with that? Well, the best way to deal with that is discuss it exactly as discussed it here. Say, listen, I can't deal with this. You're closed-minded. You don't respect my opinion. You just want to have your opinion, and we are not interacting on the same level, and this is becoming uncomfortable for me. It's not nourishing a relationship for me. So unless we understand what our problems are, and both are willing to address it, and have a certain policy of discussion, sharing information, and civilized sharing information and discussion, then it wouldn't go anywhere. It becomes tension-creating relationship or discussions, and that's no good. So what do you think? Can we do something about it? And if you guys say yes and set parameters and actually do it, well, great. If it not, then move on. That's the end of it. There's no ifs and buts and dilly-dallying around it. All right. Debbie, why do I feel restless and like something is missing with me, even though I try everything to keep busy and happy? Is this a fundamental problem within me? Often this is because you have wanted something, you had something, you wanted something, you got something, and then you don't have that thing, which means you should unwant it, but you haven't unwanted it. You still want it. Why do you want something that doesn't want you? You must learn, just as we want something at the right time, and things looks like it deserves for us to want it, and the situation warrants for us to want it. But just as we do that when we want something, we should also be able to unwant something when we see it is no longer suitable, whether I don't want it or she doesn't want it, or whatever your relationship is, the other person doesn't want it. When they don't want it, you should also be able to unwant what you wanted. When you don't unwant what you wanted, in your head, you have no direction. You still go on the premises of looking at that person based on your decision of wanting that person. And everything that person is still doing, you still look at it as a wanting program, wanting directive. You got to change that directive. I don't want this person anymore. Not because I don't love her. I don't love her now because she doesn't love me. Or you don't love him because he doesn't love you. Whatever it is you have to give a command. You can't be having the same old command in your head and then try to deal with what is no longer yours or with you. And you still want to pretend it's not with me, but I want it and I still think it's with me. Well, you're creating a havoc. You're creating a confusion. What's not with you? What's not for you? What doesn't want you? What doesn't belong to you? What has left you? All these circumstances means you must not want that either. Tell me, does that get you anywhere if somebody doesn't want you but you want it? It's been expressed that they don't want you. They've left. That's why. Leaving means they don't want you. And if that happens, that means you should stop wanting them. Be kind to yourself. Be respectful to yourself. Right? So it's not that there's a fundamental problem within you. It's the fact you haven't decided what to do with that thing. Make a decision. And the only decision that you can make is not wanting it, because wanting it is not in the cards. Because that person has expressed that doesn't want you. And that's okay. Doesn't want you doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That's why you don't want to give it up. That's why you don't want to say, okay, I don't want you either. Because you think as soon as you say, I don't want you either, then you have admitted that he was right not wanting you. That means there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you when somebody doesn't want you. Because for one person doesn't want you, there's 10 other people who want you. You just haven't met them, but doesn't mean they're not there. So deal with the facts and truth, not because of what you see and what you know. You may not see or know that other people want you, but the fact and the truth with logic is that there are millions of people out there that want you. You just haven't met them, you can't meet them, or perhaps they're in some other countries. But the fact is that you're wanted. By somebody not wanting you, that cannot erase your necessity and your loveliness and your being wanted by the universe, by the nature, by other people around the world. It's just that person doesn't want you. Who cares? You go into a store, you see a wonderful clothing or article of clothing, you don't want it. But does the price of it that says $5,000, does it come down because you just didn't want it? No, you didn't want it, you walked out of the store. But somebody is going to buy that because they want it. They love it. So the lovingness of that thing, the value of that thing, the wanting of that thing by other people does not go away because you walked out of the store. Maybe you couldn't afford it. Maybe you didn't like the design of it. Maybe it didn't suit you. Maybe it didn't fit you. Whatever it is, you are not the deciding factor of the value of that thing that other people can't give it value. Same thing with you. Nothing has diminished in your value because that person doesn't want you. And if you understand that, then you will easily be fine to say, okay, the heck with it. I don't want him either. I don't need it. My value is still the same. It's not dependent on who wants me or who doesn't want me. If you understand that, you'll have an easier way to let it go. Margaret says, how do I stay sane? You are sane. You don't need to stay sane. You are sane. So, simple. Popa. Oh, I see. So that was was not a question to me. That's why I couldn't understand where the question comes from. Adam says, this is why I watch your videos. You, my friend, are a very good man. Many thanks from Adam in the UK. You're welcome, Adam. My pleasure. Now, I'm going to lay one at you. Don't forget to share the videos that you like. Put them on your social media. Go to my Facebook page and like the page. And go to my site and take a look of what's there available and read the chapter, the books, and so on and so forth. So at least you share my site address on your social media or something and promote this, what we do here. There you go. I got you back on that one. Robin says, thank you. I'm fine. Love to hear your wise words. Great, Robin. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. Good work. Thanks. Okay. Now, Mark says, listening to you has helped me a lot. I've just come out of a 7-year relationship and struggling to see the positives ahead. You don't have to see the positives to know positives are there. They're part of life. It's not depending on you see them. They're there. Knowing that they're there, it makes it easy for you to paddle towards them. Feels like I don't know how to move on and get out there and find happiness again. No, you don't have to find happiness. You just have to decide that you want to be happy. Happiness is already decided and given to you. Happiness is not about being in a relationship to be happy. That's after being happy. If you want to get into a relationship to be happy, that's a wrong intention for a relationship, because a relationship cannot make you happy. You got to be happy, and that happiness has already been given to you. The fact that you're here in this world, you've been chosen to spend some time of this short journey of life on this planet Earth and enjoy the fruits and the playground that it is in here. You're happy. The reason for your happiness must be basics of things. The fact that you breathe is the reason for the happiness. If you think that is not, then plug your nose and close your mouth. You'll see you can't stand it for a second. So you can really see happiness really is about being able to breathe, as simple as that. Something to drink. Cocoa water in my case. Some place to sleep, safe place to sleep. That's it. Something to wear, something to drink, something to sleep, something to eat, and ability to breathe. That's the basics of happiness. Therefore, the happiness is already been given to you. Luck has already been given to you. Why? Because look, every time your mom and dad tried to have a baby, over 300 million sperms were produced. Out of that 300 million, only one could have been born. That's 1 in 300 million. And you are that lucky person. You were the chosen one out of that many. So the luck has been taken care of. You're lucky to begin with. The happiness has already been given to you, all the basics that I explained. So the rest of it is you go and enjoy this life, and don't so be bogged down on your happiness or your life quality dependent on some ass that he wants to be with you or doesn't want to be with you. If he or she doesn't want to be with you, so be it. There's so many other ones around. Open your eyes. The positiveness is out there. It is not going to be for you to wait for it, to see it, to feel it. It's out there. You take steps. You don't have to see it before you take steps. Take steps. Go and you will meet them. And everything will be fine as long as you understand happiness and luckiness is already given to you. Go on strong. Continue your life. Build your life and make yourself a happy man by your own doing, not waiting for someone to, out of charity, come and give you. The one you're going to do, you're going to be dependent on that. If that person leaves, then you're unhappy again. You wait for someone else to come to your life. Then that person comes. Then he leaves or she leaves. Then you're unhappy again. Well, what? You're like depending on some kind of a, substance to be given you so you'll feel good. Don't. Become independent. Understand that you're lucky and you're happy and you don't have to look for them. Just go build your life. Make a better person out of yourself. By yourself. Debbie, thank you. You're welcome. And Nathan says, thank you. You're completely straight to the point. But I'm not able to understand this part. If other person don't want you, just move on. I'm not a machine. I have memories. Ah, you're not a machine, but she is. When the 4-minute mile took place, then every runner could do it under 4 minutes. So if she can do it, then you can too. Whether you want to call it machine or not. It's not about being a machine. It's about being reasonable, being powerful, being in control of your balance in life. You cannot control the things that will happen in life, but you can control the way you react to them. That's the way to keep your balance. If you have a boat on the ocean, you cannot control the waves of the ocean. They're going to be there. But you can be a good captain and keep rowing and keep the balance of your boat from capsizing. That's controlling your life. So if you think you're incapable of that, you're wrong. By understanding that you're the only captain of this ship that you're sitting in, then you understand that there is no choice but to be able to keep your balance despite of whatever else happens of this sort in your life. You've got more power than you think, so use them. Batur says, I think I don't have self-confidence in front of society. What can I do to gain that? Well, I've explained that in one of my videos. It says, I don't feel confident in front of rich people. Go on my channel, YouTube channel, and put in, I don't feel comfortable, I don't have confidence in front of rich people. It's only 7 or 8 minutes. It's a short part of one of the bigger videos that I've had. And you will find it. Because right now, I think we're up to our time. And it's time for me to say goodbye. Prince, are you still there? Let me see what time it is, if you will. If someone is in West Coast of North America, let me know what time it is, please. Faye, hello, dear. Good to see you. Good. I'm glad that you're enjoying it, Faye. Ida, my pleasure, dear. Somebody tell me what time it is in West Coast. It's 12:14. Okay, guys. Obviously, we have gone over our time, and I'm glad that we have had this talk and this time to share opinions and videos, and I hope that a change can be made and has been made in your way of thinking about yourself, and to understand that you are the boss of you. Everything that you go through is a thought. A thought has no credibility. Thought is a stupid and often lie. You don't have to believe every thought that comes into your mind. You are the boss to choose what makes sense, what is good for you, what is not. And on that basis, you will see that you are in control of your life and not to be controlled. Watch a program that I have, watch a video I have on the YouTube called The Watcher and the Watch. The quality of your life, the watcher and the watch, the observer and the observed, the controller and the controlled. Just search these words on the search engine of my channel, and you will enjoy to understand what I just said in the closing of this time of our discussion this weekend. I look forward for you guys to be gathered around next week again, either Saturday on my Facebook page, Mind That Seeks Truth, or Sunday, same place, same Facebook page, The Amazing Things in the World. Again, my thanks to the good people of Wittyfeed to facilitate such opportunity for us to have a discussion. And don't forget to go on my YouTube channel. The link is up there. Go to my site, check the book and the sample chapters that you can read, and also go to my Facebook page, and let's be in touch and share the videos that you like, if you will, and let people know that there is support available. I love you all, and thank you for all being here, and I talk to you next week, same time. Bye for now.